Hey guys, this is Jon
and Austin,
and this is the Meatgistics podcast. So let's get right to it because we've got something delicious in front of us. Let me give a quick background. Brett was getting rid of some steaks that had some freezer bite to them, and he's like, "Hey, do you have anything you think you could do with this? So we'll figure out something." So I walked into Austin's office earlier today. I was like, "Hey, we don't really have a food item for today, but why don't I grind up those steaks and we'll mix in the Philly bratwurst seasoning and try them." So I did a batch earlier for social media. I have not tried it. Tried a little bit of the meat, but I did not try one of these.
So you claim.
I promise, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be amazing. The amount of fat that came out in the frying pan was absolutely ridiculous. All right. See how we can eat this without the microphone getting in the way too much. Mm-hmm.
That's delicious.
Home run. Now, would it be as good with a non-ribeye? I think so.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely out of control good.
Yeah, that's, to be honest, I don't know that I've ever ground up a steak to make something out of it, but that's good. Like, I wouldn't probably do that every time. I would probably just go get a lower quality cut and try it with that. It'd probably be just about as good, but this is amazing.
I've got a bunch of round steaks at home that I now know what I'm doing with.
Oh, yeah.
Grinding those up for this. Huh. Now I'm wondering how it would be if we just used the Philly bratwurst seasoning as a steak seasoning. That probably wouldn't be bad either.
That'd be good.
No. You're going to want to finish all that.
Why not?
No, you are going to.
Oh, okay.
Because as soon as we're done with these, we're hopping on that scale. We're doing the weigh-in today for our weight loss challenge. Perhaps maybe we do a weight gain challenge instead.
Yeah, if we're starting that, I'm gonna need all the help I can get here. Weigh as much as I can. I'm gonna chug 2 quarts of water real fast too.
Whatever you got to do. I have a ridiculous amount of water in me at all times. So what I'll do is just dehydrate leading up to it.
Oh, if that's legal, yeah.
What are we going to do? Hydration tests somehow?
I don't know, but I'm going to be on the verge of needing urgent care.
So will I. Someone's going to have to help me stand up. Take that step right there. I'm going to need assistance.
Hopefully my wife is not listening to this and she doesn't really find out about that, because she won't be very happy about that. But just because it's not good for you necessarily.
Yeah, but I mean, lots of things aren't good for us. Do we want to say no dehydrating?
Probably within reason.
Okay.
Like no sitting in a sauna for 24 hours beforehand, just sweating out every ounce.
Less water is fine, but yeah. Well, that's good because I don't know if I could actually do that, to be honest. I mean, I was never a wrestler or a fighter, so I never had to lose weight for anything. I don't know if I could.
It would be very hard. That would be like the hardest thing of the whole weight loss challenge. It's just that final weigh-in, trying to cut as much water weight as possible.
They need to find a way to cut that out of fighting. Like whatever your walk around weight is, that's what you should be fighting at. Just make more weight classes.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about that, and to me, that makes sense. I used to watch a lot of MMA fighting. I don't watch near as much anymore, but I mean, it's gotten intense over the years. Like there's been some like serious issues with people cutting so much weight, having issues with that, or not being able to cut enough weight, and then they're not, the fight isn't quote unquote official. Yeah. And I mean, just what that does to your body before you're getting into a ring to just get your face pounded in by somebody can't be good.
Your brain slogged around the inside of your skull.
Yeah.
I can't stop eating this. I'm not going to. I'm sure people would rather I stop talking with half a mouthful of food, but that's not going to happen. This is delicious.
It's very good.
How was your Christmas?
Not bad. My son on Christmas Eve ended up getting a double ear infection. And so we were at urgent care Christmas Eve trying to get medicine and antibiotics. So made a little interesting start to things, but he bounced back pretty quick. And from there, everything was good.
In the future, if you need antibiotics, I've got plenty in my basement. I do. It's amoxicillin.
If I needed it, like severely, I'd consider it. But in this case, for my son, probably not going to chance it. He would have survived a couple days without antibiotics if you'd have had to. Yeah.
Because mine's for fish.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to.
I think it'll work. I think it'll work.
It might work, but I don't really want to play test subject with my son.
I've got a lot of it too. Could have easily gotten him through this.
How long is it good for?
I think it said 12 months.
No.
So, yeah.
Not super
You are
long.
right. I probably bought that about 6-7 months ago. So I might as well just take it. See if it wants to kill any infection in my body.
Yeah.
Might as well.
You're going to create a super bug.
Let's see what it's like. All right. You want to hear something creepy?
Yeah. What do you got?
I was in your neighborhood last night.
Oh, yeah. That's awkward. Is there a house for sale? Are you moving in?
Nope. I first of all, when I got home, your son's truck had delivered. So had I had them, I was going to leave them on your front porch and just leave. But no, I went to your dad's house and your sister was there, your mom, and we watched Bloodlines. Sat down, just chilling together.
What's Bloodlines?
There was some show Allie was all excited about watching.
Was she actually awake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why?
She's been sick on and off, and like she gets towards the end of the day, and she sometimes is just out of it.
No, I now have a new Beretta A300 semi-automatic shotgun. So I'd been wanting to get rid of my over-under. Your dad heard that I was looking for one. He's like, hey, I've got a bunch of them that I've never even fired. So we did that.
Cool.
So good. I'm looking forward to using it. We still need to pick did we pick a Thursday? It can't be that one that Tex is coming for the steak cook-off. So for anyone who doesn't know, Tex and I are doing a steak cook-off on January 13th or 15th, whatever the Thursday is, right around there. And we're both going to get a steak or a selection of steaks that Austin is going to provide, and we get to choose from it. Then we're going to cook them. Then I think it's Kurt, you, and I don't know if we've gotten your dad, somebody else to judge them. No, your dad will be hunting. And we'll get somebody else to judge them. And then there finally will be a winner on the who's better, Jon or Tex cook-off.
It's going to be interesting. I know both of your...
Use that.
Yeah, you should try it on an actual steak first. See how it's going to compare. But I know your secret ingredient and recipe. I know Tex's secret ingredient and recipe. And you both are doing some interesting things. I'll just say that.
Okay.
But
what's his MSG?
No. Although if either of you are not putting MSG in it, you need to.
I have MSG as well.
Yeah. It's, to be honest, we might have to cook a control steak just to see how it compares.
With nothing?
Yeah. Blind test between the three.
So you're talking about literal steak with no salt, no pepper?
No. Do just like Walton's Ultimate on it.
Oh, okay. And
see how, or is that, am I pulling out my inner Jon, and am I doing too many combinations at one time?
Yeah, we're terrible scientists. Absolutely terrible scientists. So yeah, we should probably keep it as simple as possible. Yeah. All right. Before we get to the weigh-in, one more thing. I want to start doing a YouTube of the month comment. The problem is I don't know how to get in touch with the people from YouTube. Like this user, I have no way of like messaging him or anything. So my thought is open to Meatgistics users. They have to put their Meatgistics name in it if they want to be considered. And then we'll choose the winner and read it on the monthly live stream.
Yeah, that would work. Because I don't know how else you would. Can you private? You can't private message
that's
on
why
YouTube.
That user who has Walton's as their like handle, I can't get in touch with him. I tried subscribing to his channels from both Meatgistics and Walton's YouTube, hoping he'd be like, that's interesting, and try and get a message to us, but I have no way of reaching him.
That's weird. Yeah. Never thought about that before, but if people can include their Meatgistics username, that would at least allow us, to...
A way to tie back to it. So a long time ago, Austin and I created a YouTube video that was how to make chorizo. And we got this comment that Patrick was laughing so hard when he read it initially that I knew it was just awesome. But it said something like, if I wanted a recipe on how to make bland mayonnaise, I'd ask you two white boys. But for chorizo, I think I'll stick with Hispanics or something to that. It's not perfect. I laughed incredibly hard. I still talk about it 5 years later. I mean, we had to block it, but or not block it, but remove that comment. But it was very, very funny. That has always been my favorite comment and probably still is. But Tex 4x4, which isn't text because it has a picture, says, John, this is one of the most informative and entertaining episodes yet. This is so much more helpful than reading a description. Brett is internet gold. His constant grimace, followed by positive to mediocre opinions with the occasional PC negative, is priceless. The grimace precedes all opinions. Please move the microphones away from Austin. Why does he insist on shoving an entire slice in his mouth every time? This action is directly followed by horrible salivating and chewing. Thank the good Lord I'm not on a cliff. He is also clearly has COVID because he can't smell and can only taste salt. So we have one brother that can't, sorry, I didn't hit the read more, taste, and one that can't smell. Great video. Let's do snack sticks and after the cheese percentage video. So both of those are somewhat in the works. We are doing...
Why didn't you get a slam in there?
He said something about me first, but it just wasn't anything good or bad. It was just, hey, John. So we're doing what percentage of cheese is too much in summer sausage. And then we are working on accumulating one of every snack stick seasoning. Here's the problem with that. Is by the time I get to the end, the new one or the old ones are going to be probably a few months old and frozen. So they're not going to be quite as fresh and good.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as we're talking months and it's not like years, a year and a half later. It'd be fine.
Like 2.5 years later when we found those ones we brought to the first Pheasant Fest we went to.
Yeah.
They were just a block frozen together.
It'll also help too if when we're ready to eat them, if we don't try to rapid de-thaw them, if you do a slower cycle, it should help it recover from being frozen.
Yeah.
At least that's my thought.
No, that's probably true. Probably fair. Okay. That is everything I have that is pre-weigh-in. Who wants to go first? I'll go first.
Okay.
So
are we publicly announcing these?
Oh yeah. So mine's not going to be good, right? Shoes on, everything on. Just leave everything on, right? Okay.
I'm gonna hold my water cup
now. Because
you can't turn it on and calibrate it when you're holding it. It's got to be on the ground.
Sorry, I was wondering if we had to change it between, because it has two modes. It has 150 mode and 300 mode.
Oh, you won't work on the 150 mode?
Right, yeah. It's like we're going to be over 150, both of us. Okay. Here we go. We're going to tear it. We're at 0 pounds here. I'm guessing, oh God, this is so bad. I promised myself when I got under 200 pounds that I'd never go back over it. I'm guessing I'm 213.
If you are, you're a lot closer to me than I thought you would be. Because I'm definitely going to be more than you.
Let's do it.
It's still counting and climbing. It's still going.
No, it's not. It stopped. Are we calling it 210? 2099?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, that was 2099. Not good.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Things are...
Our set's falling apart.
Our pets' heads are falling off. Trying to put that back on. Austin, is that... Were you trying to add more to it or get it off?
Just making sure it's, yeah.
All right, Austin is 220 even. So we are only 10 pounds apart. That's not that bad.
That's actually better than I was expecting. I figured I'd be a few pounds over 220 because I was like 214 before the holiday season started. So I've only put on like 6 pounds over the past
that's
month.
Probably what happens. But so what is the length of time we want to do this? Do you want to do it a month from today? Today is the 28th. That would put us on the first podcast of February 1st.
That would probably be good.
Okay. So that is February 1st. We have all of January to try to lose weight. Now,
how hard do you party for New Year's Eve?
I won't party that hard.
Darn.
Sorry.
I was gonna say I'm not going to be partying, so
no.
See if I'd...
No, I'll have a few drinks, but I certainly won't go overboard.
I definitely should have waited. We should have waited till next week because I forgot my older brother and younger sister are coming to town.
Good luck.
We're doing Christmas and New Year's with the family this weekend. So that's not going to be good.
Use it to slingshot yourself. Just carb cycle until then. Eat a bunch and then cut them.
We'll see.
That'll help. But all right, here's the loser. Have you heard of the one chip challenge?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what the loser gets. Has to eat one of those chips, and then there's a rating on like how long you can go without drinking or eating anything. And you're free to either like back out immediately, or not back out, but eat or drink something immediately, or see how long you can go. But it's like 0 to 5 minutes. It says something like you're powerless, 5 to 10, you're something. 10 or more, you're powerful.
If you can wait 5 minutes, in my mind, you could just wait it out.
I don't know. I've seen people wait 5 minutes, and it seems like they're still in a lot of pain.
Yeah. I refuse to lose this because I'm not doing that.
There you go.
I'm not doing that.
There you go. So, yeah, I don't know if choosing something that you hate so much was a good idea. Probably should have chosen something that you wouldn't have minded so that you wouldn't try as hard.
Have you ever done anything like that? The one chip challenge?
I mean, I've eaten like super hot wings, like things that they say are, just dangerously hot. And I don't react well to it. So whenever we do this, it'll be a podcast where we finish and then go home so that the loser can go home and try to take care of their stomach. Because I'm sure it's not good. I don't know what
2.2 million Scoville units. A jalapeno is 8,000. A habanero is 350,000.
Habanero is pretty hot.
I think we should eat something hot, but not that hot.
No, it's that. What are you thinking? I once ate a habanero that a guy left on my keyboard in Texas, and that was really uncomfortable. Like, I did not do well with it. I sweat a lot. And I think I eventually had to drink some milk.
I ate a pepper like that one time. I thought I was eating I don't even know what it was, but I thought I was eating a pepper that was like going to be like sweet to jalapeno. Okay. And it ended up being something
not that
fancy. Yeah. And it like about killed me. It was not good.
All right. Well, if you can somehow talk me out of that in between now and then, it's open to being changed. But as of right now, that is the thing. I think what will happen is we'll see a bunch of people on Meatgistics say, no, this is what you guys have to do.
Is there just like one chip that does it, or there's like
a couple
multiple?
Of different ones? Yeah, there's a couple of different ones. There's like the blue coffin one. There's a few other ones. If you want to select that, that's fine.
If I was the one to do it, I'm going to do a couple different things. I'm going to get, have you ever seen those like ginormous tubs of sour cream? They're like that big around and like a foot tall.
You're just going to...
I'm going to dip the whole chip in that to start.
No. Chip has to go in unalterated. unadulterated? No, I don't know. Without messing with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna find like a hack to it. I'm gonna like eat like 2 pounds of bacon beforehand to coat my mouth with grease.
So I wondered about that.
Something like that.
What if you ate a bunch of Tums first? Would that help?
Ooh.
Right? I would imagine it would help.
Maybe.
It's not going to help your mouth and your throat, but I can deal with that. The actual, not danger, but where I could get really uncomfortable is how it feels in my stomach.
Oh, I don't do.
Because if you throw that up and that gets up in your nose, forget it. You're in for agony.
That's going to be bad.
Yeah.
You have to take me to the hospital and intubate me. I wouldn't survive.
Put him under. Put him under.
Yeah. That's not going to be good.
Not great. I'll say that. All right. So we have a live stream tomorrow, but it's not worth talking about because it will be yesterday when people are listening to this.
Are we doing a live stream? Or are you doing a live stream?
Are you not involved?
Tomorrow is the New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, did you back out?
I don't remember what day it is, obviously.
I've got email going out tonight and then social media posts and an email going out tomorrow with a schedule. I just did something every 30 minutes and I made the gift certificates a little bit. There's 25, 25, and 50. We're also going to we will have drawn the winner of the chambered back sealer. So again, this isn't really worth talking about on a podcast that's coming out after the live stream. I don't know why I keep doing it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on then. All right, this one isn't really part of Meat Matters, but it kind of is. I can't click on the article from my laptop, apparently, even though I can get to it from my desktop. So that's great. Don't know why I'm having two different allowances. But the article is the battle to call plant-based bacon and sausages meat from Business Insider. So I have a couple excerpts from it. It says, 3 wiener dogs dressed up as hot dogs stood outside the UK Parliament. That could be the start of a bad joke, but to the man who took the dachshunds there, it was utterly serious. Warren Toft Beck, it's a kind of ridiculous name, the founder of a startup that makes plant-based meats and alternatives, brought the animals in protest. It was 2020. The European Parliament was voting on a ban against use of meat-related words like sausage, bacon, burger, chicken, and steak in the names of plant-based foods. If the bans had passed, plant-based sausages would have needed a different name, perhaps plant-based tubes. That sounds reasonable to me. Vegetable burgers, I don't know why I said vegetable that way. Oh God, I can't say it normal now. Vegetable. No, what's going on? I can't say it. Oh no.
Vegetable.
There you go. Vegetable burgers might have to be renamed discs and plant-based bacon veggie strips. It was a serious threat to companies like Toft's Beck UK company Meatless Farms, which makes mince, burgers, and chicken. Why is chicken the only one in quotations there? Burgers should be in quotation there too. Mm-hmm. Out of pea, soya, and rice proteins. So he put miniature placards next to the dog saying, "What will you call us?" And I'm not a tube dog, pointing out that dachshunds, known in the UK as sausage dogs, and here hot dogs, get to use the meat-evoking word sausage in their name. So why couldn't plant-based meat substitutes do the same? This is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my entire life. Literally, that is the stupidest argument I've ever heard. Why can't we call this thing I've made up and want to sell to people as a replacement for something else that has value? Comparing that to why can't my dog is able to be called the same as that.
Yeah.
That's absolute. It's in bad faith. It's stupid. And I'm glad we broke away from the UK a long time ago. These people are not serious people.
You can call whatever you want, whatever name you want. But when it comes to the marketing aspect of it, there's too many other rules and regulations. And that's my quote unquote beef with it, is that there's tons of rules and regulations what you can already call existing meat products. And it seems like the plant-based substitutes don't have to follow the same rule set that meat companies have to follow when they're naming their products.
Oh yeah, no, it's clearly they don't have to. It's kind of loosey-goosey at the moment. Now, later in the article, it says It's not clear which side is winning. Texas lawmakers are considering a ban, while Louisiana struck down a law limiting the use of certain meat terms in March. South Africa outlawed the use of meaty names, and its government even planned to seize some artificial meat from store shelves until a last-minute court order paused the law from being implemented. So Texas good, Louisiana bad. I don't really know too much about Louisiana except for the Cajun, and that's where Jerry, No Eyes Processor, is. So generally, I don't think of them as, although gumbo and all that, they love their vegetables. So they're probably more on board with something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whole thing is ridiculous, though. They shouldn't be able to use the term sausage.
I agree.
Okay, moving into Meat Matters. First, I have a section of Meat Matters that's called The Good News. This doesn't even necessarily need to be meat related. It's just there's so many dark stories out there right now.
Do you have good and bad, or do you have good?
I just have good and then just Meat Matters.
Oh,
yeah.
I was hoping we had like the good, bad, and the ugly.
Some of them are pretty bad. All right, so first one is pilot adopts a puppy that was abandoned by owner at San Francisco airport. Now, that headline's a little misleading. It's not like the person just let their dog go. They were trying to bring it in from China, and it didn't have some paperwork that they were demanding. So they're like, well, we're going to send it back. So the guy's like, well, I don't know what to do. So he was like, all right, I guess it's yours now. It's not like he got there and he was like, oh, I'm leaving this here. You took his dog away from him. So some pilot was able to have it quarantined for 4 months and then was able to adopt it. It's a cute dog. But anyways, just a good story.
Interesting.
Hunters for the Hungry keep food pantries and meat supply up. So this is hunters in Kentucky willing to donate meat to the hungry. I found this particularly interesting because it was from Yahoo, who is not famously on the side of hunters or meat processors in most of their articles. More than 2,500 pounds of meat has been donated through the program through mid-December. Now, I think a lot of this is people just want to kill a deer, but don't want to deal with having to process the deer. So I think they're just like, you take it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
One would hope that it's people that are doing it, for what I'd call the quote unquote right reasons. But
right.
At least still, if that's their reason, they're at least doing something good rather than just shooting an animal and letting it lie there and decay on its own.
Oh, yeah. Anything to do with it is better than that. But the feedback we get from Mr. Carroll, the person who's running it, from God's House of Hope, is always appreciation for the people who are receiving the benefit of the donations. They always look forward to picking up the deer this time of the year and fulfilling a family's needs. Awesome. I would say that maybe we get those people to learn how to hunt so that they could do it themselves, but still a good thing. Mm-hmm. And then this is from Meat and Poultry. Jeff Tech receives $1 million for meat training program. So the state of Pennsylvania is granting Jefferson County, Dubois area vocational training school, long name, $1 million for a meat training program. The funding comes from the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program, which funded 3 projects in Pennsylvania. So basically they are trying to get people who would normally have a low to no skill job, teach them a trade, which is absolutely genius. That's what we should have been doing even when I was in high school. They should have taken one look at me and been like, why do you want to go to school? I said, to party. They go, no, do this instead. You could still party. You're just not going to be $80,000 in debt.
Yeah.
So much better idea.
Yeah. If you go to school and you're $80,000 in debt,
I was not $80,000.
You already made a poor choice in something because you can go through college without doing that. Unless
you want, like, my wife went to a fairly expensive school, but she was getting a chemical engineering degree, like value. Like if you want to be an engineer, a doctor, an architect, a lawyer, those definitely need schooling. If you want to be a computer programmer, go program. That's going to be better than what they're going to teach you in school anyways.
Yeah, to some extent.
Well, I mean, you're going to get the stuff you want without all the other stuff you don't want. Like I went to school or I was in college right around the time that this like serious bias switch came in. I remember arguing in a class so much that the teacher actually, with her teacher's aide, and I still get mad thinking about this, held me behind. They're like, we think maybe this class isn't right for you. I'm like, oh, good. I'm like, I don't have to come anymore. I'm like, well, I just get a passing? And she's like, oh no, you'll have to take it again next semester. And I just, like, the level of defeat that came over me at that point, and I just gave up. I was like, no, I'll never talk in her class again. I'm like, whatever. It's terrible. All right, now on to the meat matters portion. Too much nitrite cured meat brings clear risk of cancer, says scientists. Now, this is in The Guardian. First of all, for those of you who are not familiar with The Guardian, take everything they say with a large grain, with an Austin serving size of salt, large amount. It says, among those who conducted the research trial in which mice were fed a diet of 15% nitrite containing processed meat was Professor Chris Elliott, OBE, who led the government's investigation into the horse meat scandal in 2013. Who's eating 15% of your diet as bacon or ham?
It's a pretty high percentage of,
unreasonable amount.
Yeah. Like,
there is not somebody out there who's eating 15% of their diet as cured meat.
The only way I could see that is, if they're eating large quantities of bacon for breakfast, eating smoked and cured ham for lunch, and goodness, what are you eating for dinner? Your snacks are going to be summer sausage snack sticks and jerky, and somehow for dinner you're still going to have something in there that's got a...
How often do you think somebody's eating all 3 meals cured meat?
Not often.
Yeah. Less than 0.1%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not much.
It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Also, I spent a good amount of time looking for this because on my phone this weekend, I saw an article from the New York Times that said the reason the public is losing trust in health officials is because they keep pushing things like eating too much red meat causes cancer with limited to no actual science to back it up. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm like, we're going to talk about that. I spent a good 30 minutes looking for it this morning. Nowhere. They axed that article in 2 days. Ridiculous.
Crazy.
But Elliott, who's among a group of scientists, MPs, and peers who are urging UK ministers to ban the use of chemicals in processed meat, added, the European Food Safety Authority and the French government are following the facts. It's the time the UK government did too. All right, so let's say this happens, right? Let's say the whole UK decides no more nitrite in meat. What happens? It's going to make meat so much harder to get, which is exactly what they've been wanting for the last 15 years. This is just a new vector of attack.
Yeah.
If you take out bacon, hams, well, there go hogs, right? Those are the 2 ways that you preserve a hog for long term. So all of a sudden, hog market is nothing if you can't have those 2 things. Because what are you going to do with the ham if you can't cure it? What are you going to do with the belly? You're going to do nothing with those 2 huge. Well, I mean, you do something with the hams, but with the belly, you're going to do nothing. And that is a huge moneymaker out of hog. So that industry's gone.
I wonder, are they more concerned in looking through stuff? I would think that they're from how they word it and talk about it. I assume they're more concerned about just the nitrites and nitrates than the actual meat. It's just that portion to it. And if that's the argument, do you have to start cutting out like certain vegetables and stuff that are high in nitrates?
That's a great question.
It's like if you were to do that, where does the line get drawn? Because that's the new trend right now anyways in the meat industry, is to take out SureCure, take out your nitrites and nitrates, and put in some sort of vegetable juice powder, which it still contains it, but then you don't have to say that it does. Right. It's still putting the same thing in it without labeling it as such. Yep. Going back to my complaints about how the meat industry is required to label things, and if the plant-based protein industry can skirt around that because they're not technically meat. Wonder if that will come into play in that portion at all? Like what about vegetables is basically the short answer there.
I want every bundle of celery to have to list contains nitrites. Nitrates.
Nitrates.
In it. Yeah. I want every bundle of celery to do that. Who can I petition that to?
You can start a whitehouse.gov petition, get 100,000 signatures. We get about 20,000 from our Meatgistics members.
I'll make it a entry on the giveaways. Go sign this petition to make them label vegetables as possibly dangerous.
It would be interesting.
First of all, did we talk about like hooves versus chemicals?
Huh.
I don't know how far we want to go down this rabbit hole, but like if you want to look at why I'm more inclined to eat, because I really don't eat much vegetables, like really don't. Carrots, apples, a fruit, obviously, some spinach here and there, and some celery, right? Those are like the fourth, and cucumbers. Not as much now, but when there was the sea salt and vinegar, that was insane. So a chemical, and they've proved this before, changes its chemical makeup. Right. So they've played the sound of caterpillars eating leaves, and trees will change their chemical makeup so that they are less appetizing to that caterpillar. Even though there's no caterpillar there, they feel the sound, hear the sound, however they do it, and change their chemical makeup. So when you're picking a vegetable, why are we thinking that nothing like that is happening? Right? An animal that has hooves, horns, claws, something like that, that's its defense. A chemical change, it would be the vegetable or fruit's defense.
Yeah. I don't know.
Telling you, vegetables are bad for you. Even though they're, or even beyond them being a hard word to say sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. It
makes sense though, right?
It'd be interesting to find out more about that.
Nah, don't look more into it. Just accept what I say. All right, but back on the OneNote page, just a quick, I'm not just saying things about The Guardian. Here are two other articles from The Guardian today. I'll stop saying I don't eat meat and tell people I don't eat animals. Shut up. I mean, how annoying is that? And then climate impact labels could help people eat less red meat. Again,
that's just going to be another thing that drives me nuts about labeling requirements in the meat industry if that happens. Because if you do that, you have to do that on everything, not just meat. It would have to be everything.
No. We'll get to something like that later too. But they specifically just want you to eat less meat. They don't care about any environmental things.
Yeah, but sometimes when you're fighting stuff like that, you can't always win the entire war, but if it's gonna get pushed through,
so you want to spread the pain.
Spread the pain, yeah.
Then make everybody hate them.
Mm-hmm. Because it'll ultimately make everyone
that's fair
mad against them if that's what they want to push through.
I think if you are part of any organization that's going to push any type of climatology change, anything like that, you should have to list everybody in your C-suite and investors that own oceanfront property, right? You've been telling me the ocean is rising, or the levels are rising, and everything is going to be underwater for 30 years now. Yet you still buy oceanfront property, and beyond that, banks still invest in condos and whatever right on the ocean. It would be in a prospectus somewhere saying, "Hey, in 15 years we think this is going to be underwater," but they don't actually think that.
Yeah.
They just want to control what we do.
Do as we say, not as we do.
Absolutely. So this is the world's biggest cultured meat factory is under construction in the U.S. Despite the fact that consumers have never tasted it and it's only legal in Singapore, cultured meat is on a roll. Its production cost is dropping. Multiple companies have entered the space, and the FDA recently granted its first approval to be one of them. Last week, the industry hit another milestone as an Israeli company broke ground on what it says will be the biggest cultured meat in the world. And awesome, it's going to be in the U.S. The first approval is Upside Foods, but true to its name, Believer Meats hasn't been deterred by its slower than anticipated series of events. Last week, the company started construction on a 200,000 square foot factory in Wilson, North Carolina, about 45 miles from Raleigh. I can't I don't know. I actually go back and forth on this. I don't think I care as much as I did initially, but it's going to fail because they're not. I talked to a bunch of people about this recently. You have two things right next to them. One is cell-based meat and one is grown from a cow. They are equal in every way. Which one are you choosing? Everyone said they're taking the cow. Now, are there people out there who will take the cell-based meat because they think it's more ethical or better for the environment? Sure. It's not, but they'll at least trick themselves into it for a while. But then we're going to see the same thing that's happening with all these plant-based meat. It'll all come crumbling down because it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because at first, my first thought about it is, I don't care. I'll eat whichever one is going to taste better or be cheaper.
Right, but on the other, one of those advantages.
Yeah,
which it won't.
On the other hand, I also if it was cheaper, which it's not now. It's going to be a while before it is. If it was cheaper, it still would make me leery. Like I want to know exactly how they're doing it because it's unnatural. They're still somehow coming up with a natural product, and unnatural means how they're getting there. Yeah. Is that going to be okay? Like, is that going to be something that causes cancer in tons of people in 20 years? I don't know. I'm a little skeptical from that side of things, but if it's safe, I don't know that I care which way I'd go. I would probably still heavily lean towards actually eating a cow or a pig or something like that, just because I'm supporting more than likely a small and local business, a rancher and a farmer and a meat processing plant, instead of a giant company that is just making it there. I feel like the economical support for my personal preference is going to be better suited still with live animals and live slaughter there. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'll have an issue eating either one or the other. Yeah,
I think in the long term, what will happen is you'll start hearing people talk about power input on this. Because right now, it is far better. Like the amount of energy it's taking to create this meat far outstrips what you're getting out of it. And that was always the thing that you would hear with electric cars. Like people are, I care about the environment. It's like, that's actually worse for the environment. Like, do you know everything that goes into making that? And then this terrible podcast just came out on Joe Rogan talking about the cobalt mining that is like truly just unbelievably heartbreaking, like child slavery going on, and all of the EV companies know about it. They just basically ignore it. So we'll find out it's the same thing here. Like, oh no, way worse for the environment, but we're going to push it because we think it can make us and our friends a lot of money. Anything else you want to talk about with that one?
No.
This is from Salon, which would probably be the third time we've ever referenced that website in on the podcast. But it says, our love affair with fake meat just couldn't last. But while the negative publicity is never good for business, it's unlikely that concerns over food safety have been translating to consumer trends. After all, if revelations about processing conditions really impacted buying habits, who would ever eat factory farm meat again? A recent Purdue study found that even when the participants were given informational nudges concerning possible environmental and health impacts of meat production, they were still not able to change preferences towards plant-based meat and substitutes. I'm so proud of whoever answered those surveys. Like, no, this one tastes way better than that one. I don't care. I loved that.
Yeah. The side-by-side taste is just, it's not even close.
Oh, it's not even in the same category.
Yeah. That's where the previous article about cultured meat, that's where they're, in my mind, going to have a huge leg up, is they're going to be able to have something that tastes like meat and maybe doesn't have some of the side effects that they are worried and concerned about.
Sure.
Live animals. But yeah, that part and debate aside, you at least have something that tastes the same. But some of the plant-based stuff we've had doesn't taste horrible. No. Some of it is.
Some of it's god awful.
Yeah, some of it's really bad.
Steak tips were some of the that and the jerky. Those were
jerky
the
was
worst
bad.
things we've tasted by far.
But some of it's bad. Some of it's okay.
It's fine.
But none of it is as good. None of it's as good.
There's one thing I think I've brought it up a bunch of times, but the Grillers crumbles from Morningstars, they're not as good. They're just they're like good in a different way.
We're gonna have to try this because you keep talking about it. And
I'll
I've
bring
never
them in at
tried
some
them.
point. I have to make a burrito out of them though. Don't worry about it. That's good. All right. It's from the same article. And then there's the boredom factor. How's that Instapot you just had to have in 2018 working out these days? Sarah Bachman, creator of Sarah's Veggie Kitchen, says, when these new plant-based meats were first introduced, the curiosity that it sparked caused the products to become popular. But over time, the novelty is worn off. There's a time and place for meat substitutes like your local burger joint, but at home, I would much prefer cooking with lentils, beans, mushrooms, or another meat replacement. Or, just cook with meat. The thing you're trying to recreate is available. You could just eat that.
Yeah.
And again, I want to shove down their faces like you're not being more ethical by eating these. You're killing more animals. Do you watch what's it, Yellowstone?
No.
So your father made this argument long time ago on this podcast. He said people who think that they're killing less animals doing this don't understand. There's a reason that crows and vultures follow combines. Because it kills everything. Like when you're harvesting, it kills all of those, the voles, the snakes, the mice, the rabbits, deer, those all get killed. But they don't want to acknowledge that. So in the show, Kevin Costner is obviously confronting some protester and he says that. And he's like, so the only question really is how cute does an animal have to be before you care about it? I was like, that's perfect. So I liked hearing that thought process be brought up again.
Yeah.
Made me happy. All right. This is an article from Forbes. So climate change isn't the only environmental issue. The meat industry wants you to think it is. We're not going to spend too much time on this, so don't worry about it. But he says in there that the meat industry creates literal tons of waste every year. There's not any industry in the United States that doesn't create literal tons of waste every year. Like, unless you're talking about something where there's like 2 businesses in the country that do it and they're small. Other than that, a ton is not that much. A ton is 2,000 pounds. Every place creates tons of waste.
We have tons of waste that comes just out of our facility. I mean, nothing that's like super horrible, but we've got 3 dumpsters in the back. 3 dumpsters and 3 cardboard dumpsters.
Oh, 6. Oh yeah, 3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Sorry. Yep.
And we fill them up every week.
Yep.
It's how the world works.
They also talk about CO2 levels in the article. And if you want to go on the higher end, 14.5% of emissions from the agricultural industry, 16.2% of that, and this is from worlddata.org, are from transporting goods. So I'll guarantee you this author doesn't live somewhere where he's getting avocados from his backyard. He probably lives in New York and they're probably being shipped in from either Mexico, which, hey, the drug cartels own that trade now, right? So you're supporting human trafficking, you're supporting drug culture, and you're just as bad, if not worse, for the environment.
Everything that requires transportation is all going to have the same effect there. I mean, anymore, everything is global. Everything is shipped here, there, all over the place. You almost can't even use transportation in the argument there because everything requires mass transportation.
Not everything. I can go out and get a deer.
Okay. Something that you're buying, you're going and procuring that yourself. But if it's a product you're buying from the grocery store, there was mass transport involved in that.
Yep. But it's just, I'm sick of these people wanting to control what I eat. Like, I no longer take them seriously and I mock them whenever I can. Like, what is it? Tyranny can't stand mockery. right? I believe that's
Never
the
heard
saying.
that one.
Yeah.
But
So they're trying to control, well, really anything about my life. I'm not going to let them control, but specifically what I eat.
specifically your steak.
Will be my choice. All right. Now, this is a little bit of a different section for us, but I was looking up the negative health effects of pea protein, or negative benefit, the downside of pea protein, right? Couldn't figure out a good way to say that, because there are. I searched, like, you can't believe, one day last week, and there is nothing that comes up. People have gotten so good at using SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is basically creating articles out there and formatting them in the correct way, using the correct words, the correct coding, so that Google, Bing, Brave, unfortunately now, all of them will just load up your results with just what they want you to see. You can search for the negative side effects of, pea protein or XYZ, like I did, and all that will come up are positive. Or it'll be something like, are there negative side effects? Experts say no. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I did a Google search for simply the word meat and news, and that was it. Google. CNN, lab-grown meat could be served as dinner soon. Raw meat sandwiches, Wisconsin residents warned against dangerous holiday tradition. What are the meat sweats? Another one for the raw meat sandwiches. Financial Times, cultivated meat startups race to add products to menu. Yahoo, mom slammed for controversial parenting style. No doctors, no school. I like those first two. No meat. She should be arrested and have her kids taken away from her. No, I'm kidding, obviously. Our love with fake meat couldn't last. Another one about the mom. Then we don't have to grow a whole animal from CNN. And then health news. New study rates dangers of smoking red meat eating. Okay, that was Google. They were all negative. Now, we're not going to go through DuckDuckGo and Brave Search, but you're free to go through them. Are there any positive ones in there?
No.
There are not. There's not a single positive article about one of the biggest industries in the United States. On the top 10 results for 3 of the biggest search engines.
Yeah, there's a lot of push against the meat industry that because people don't like either as it as a whole or bits and pieces to it. And so there's a lot of push to always show it through a bad filter.
Drives me nuts. You know what? Since Christmas Eve, I haven't listened to a single political podcast. And I actually was feeling like better. I know you kind of cut that out because it was just annoying you too much. Maybe that's probably why I'm so fired up right now, because I haven't gotten to partake in the rage at all.
Yeah. We'll see. Once sports season dies down, I'll get back more into the news cycles. But with football still going on, coming up on the end here, college football specifically, and college basketball kicking off now. Oh no, you don't care because Notre Dame sucks.
It's not just that. I just don't like basketball anymore.
Okay. But till March Madness is over, I'll be pretty absorbed into college sports. But once that's over, so April, May, June, July, I get about 4 months where I get back into news cycles on things, and then it's start getting ready for college football season again.
Yeah. Well, just cut that out. I don't think it's healthy for us anymore. Like listening to that stuff all the time. It just makes me mad.
Like college sports?
No. College sports is great. And you said those 4 months. I was like, just cut that out.
Well, I have to fill my time with something.
There's all sorts of good audiobooks.
Yeah. That requires a much longer attention span.
That's true.
I don't have a good attention span.
Yeah, that's true. You could listen to audiobooks of books you've already read. I do that.
That would require me to have read books.
No, that's not good. Yes.
And I don't really read
We should get you reading.
books either. I used to read more, but lately I just,
It's a great way to fall asleep.
Nah, that's what I scroll. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter.
No. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. All right. Next one.
Hold on real quick.
Oh, sorry.
So little trick if you're looking for something in a search engine, specifically meat related, and you're getting not the results that you want, put part of your search in quotations. Yeah. Because then that means whatever's in quotations, you want that exact phrasing. Okay. So if you are looking for the benefits of XYZ meat, this and that, and you're not getting anything, but something's out there, put a part of that in quotes, so the search results have to have that phrase in there.
Oh, there you go. Why did I not do that? Oh, no, but here it is. 4P protein danger. Should you be worried? What do you want to bet? The answers are going to be no. What do you want to bet? We're going to click on it. Good job, Austin. Oh, no, I'm going to get blocked. I'm blocked. You see the ring of death up there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do that on another time. From this next article, again, we're not going to go into it at all, but it's Publishers Platform, a little food safety fiction, sort of, from Food Safety News. It's this long story about this guy whose father built up a small restaurant into 10 different restaurants. He then died and his son took over. Everything's going fine. And then he made a switch from buying local romaine lettuce that his guys would then wash and use as part of their signature Caesar salad, to buying triple washed bagged romaine lettuce. And within a few days, there was a nationwide E. coli outbreak. They traced it back to that romaine lettuce. And a few of the cases were from his thing, and 2 of his customers died. All restaurants closed down.
That sucks.
I took away from it, don't eat veggies. That's what I took away from it.
Yeah. My opinion on it is always just eating vegetables is just as dangerous as eating meat. People get scared about eating meat products, and you have the same risk. Yeah. And I don't let either way bother me. The only thing, because Dylan talks about it, and sprouts.
Never eat sprouts.
I don't want any sprouts, but anything else. So real quick,
for anyone who doesn't know, sprouts were the constant cause of the E. coli outbreaks at
was that the Chipotle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was, I think they traced every one of those, or 9 out of the 10 back to sprouts. Yeah. So you just don't get sprouts.
But for most vegetables, I'm like, whatever, you're chancing it. You're chancing you're going to get sick every time you eat any type of food, because it could be something that's cooked and ready to eat that was then a deli meat that was sliced on a slicer that was unclean, wasn't properly sanitized, and you get sick from that. So you go to a restaurant, who knows what their cooking practices are and their handling practices are. You get sick from eating at a restaurant, even not a nice fancy restaurant in town. It doesn't really matter. The only way that you know that you're good is you cook everything yourself at home. And most people don't. They want to cook everything. There's certain things you eat raw. It's just how it is. And then that would require you to actually cook everything. And that's not up my alley.
Yeah, so no. You're not a big cook.
Too many times. Well, I don't know. I guess I'd take that back. I could still cook as long as it was like a frozen meal. Frozen pizza. Throw it in there. But other than that, no. Too much preparation for me.
You're all going to die someday. So
why not make it sooner than later?
Not me. But you all. You're all going to die. All right, real quick, because we talked about gut health last week. There's this article on 8 sneaky signs of poor gut health. The symptoms were more irritable than usual, tired all the time, head hurts, constipated or bloated, bad breath, regular bathroom times, new food sensitivities, and skin acting up. Now, skin acting up is actually a big one for me. I know I've talked about it before on the podcast, but if I eat too much sugar, I get dry skin on the sides of my nose.
Really?
Right here, it's weird, but that's if I see that, I'm like, all right, no sugar for a while, and that'll fix it. But here are some things on what you should do. You should eat more fiber from legumes. No, thank you. I'm not a legume fan. Fruits, veggies, and whole grains. Less processed, high sugar, or greasy fried foods. I agree with one of those 2 things. I'm not giving up. I've been on a huge buffalo wing kick.
Oh.
I've been going to Wings and things.
Wings and Rings.
Wings and Rings.
Yeah.
And getting their buffalo sauce with an extra thing of blue cheese and just going to town.
Try their cauliflower wings. Have you tried those?
If we had something I could knock over in anger right now, I would.
It still
what
gets
are you doing?
It's if you don't like, because it's like 300 calories for the thing, or it's like 1,200 calories for the chicken wings. So if you want the same type of flavor and you don't want all the calories, then do that. Now it's like a plant-based burger versus a real burger. Yeah. Not going to taste exactly the same. The seasoning in there is the same, so you get something similar, but
I'll take the hit to get the real thing. Plenty of fluids and 7 hours at least of sleep a night. So I've got the plenty of fluids thing covered. 7 hours of sleep a night. I think I get maybe around that. And stress relief. So we talked earlier today. I'm on a big, like, cutting out anything from my life that is causing unnecessary stress at this point. And then the last one is take a pre or probiotic. I don't do that.
You should.
Probably should. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have one you like?
I don't know.
So you don't?
No, I do.
Oh, Jenny gives it to you?
No.
Is it a chewable? Is it a Flintstone chewable?
No. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it is. I get it from my chiropractor, Dr. Good. If you are in Wichita, you should look up Dr. Good.
It's a great name.
But when I first started getting onto like the vitamin trend, he was the one I talked to. So I get all my vitamins and stuff through him.
Okay.
But I don't remember what it is.
Cool.
But it's a probiotic of sorts.
There you go. All right. So Ocean Geoengineering Schemes aces its first field test. We're just going to go over what they were doing. There was a bay where the oysters, they were seeing serious drops in the quantity of oysters that they were ever able to harvest. They figured out that it was because there was the acidity in that bay had gone off, right? So they decide to dump a bunch of acidifying agent into the ocean that allowed it to capture and convert more CO2 to calcium carbonate, which sounds interesting. Calcium carbonate basically becomes like it goes into the shells of clams, oysters, things like that, and also is just kind of collected at the bottom of the ocean. Eventually becomes sand, so really no big deal. But if we're talking about acidifying the ocean, I feel like that's a really big risk for your one little bay of oysters. Like maybe just go, okay, there's no more oysters in this bay. We'll go over here. Not, hey, let's change the acidity of the ocean. Because if we've learned anything over the last like 50 years of doing things, it should be that anything you do, the environment's going to have unexpected results. This is the exact thing that got Australia as bad as Australia is, because they kept bringing in the next thing to kill what they brought in last time.
Yeah. It sounds a little risky.
Right? Yeah. I feel like we should have gotten a vote on this. Like, hey, I don't want you doing that. Like that ocean is the same ocean that comes, not that I'm going near an ocean, but same one that comes over in this area. Like, or not this area.
So like kind of off topic, because my assumption would be that it could you do something in one part and it can bleed over into other areas because all the oceans are connected. Yep. But have you ever seen the pictures where like the Atlantic, the Pacific, and like where they meet, it's like totally very different colors and the way it looks and whatnot? Is that real?
Yeah. Really? Yeah, that's a different, it's difference in salinity and something else that basically prevents them from meshing. Now it's just right there where they initially meet. Further down, those currents do occasionally or eventually cross. So it's not like, oh no, this is Pacific Ocean water. It would never be over in the Atlantic Ocean. So it's all.
So it still connected. Is all connected. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But the currents are really absolutely incredible things. Like fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. All right. Yinsect to add second U.S. facility. I'm really upset that Yinsect has a first U.S. facility, but it says the new facility will expand the company's sustainable carbon negative production capabilities that convert molitor and buffalo mealworms into fertilizer for plants, oils for consumption by pets and livestock, and proteins for human. Oh yeah, let's just toss that last one in there. That should have been the first one they listed.
I was good with everything till we got to protein for humans.
And then say those other things it does. You're burying the lead there. Mealworm protein is the only one in the world available on the market that can combine not only performance and health, but also natural origins and sustainability. Insect protein is more sustainable and will open a new mode of food development that is efficient, nutritious, and capable of positively impacting the food chain at multiple points.
So is there I don't know. Is there something to be concerned with at all on the whole insect thing? Because we ate our crickets on the last episode, because we've talked about this some of the past, but like, is it just a thing where we're just not used to it? Because like in this part of the world, beef, pork, chicken, that's what runs America.
Right.
But you go to other parts of the world and they're big on goats or big on sheep.
Right.
And so, but you set down a goat steak in front of somebody here, or a ribeye, and they're going to go, I want the ribeye.
Yeah.
I don't want that. But to someone else, they may go, well, I'm not going to eat a cow. What are you doing? You're
Unless
weird.
you're talking about India, where it's like a religious thing. I think if you gave anyone on the world a bite of, not a lamb steak, but a goat steak and a bite of a properly cooked ribeye, they'd be like, yeah, I'm taking that.
No. But not before they get to taste it, you just say, what do you want? Do you want this or this? They don't even necessarily, just by hearing it. Because people, when they first hear like insects and it's protein for humans, people go, ugh, I don't want to eat insect protein. But is that just a bias we have because we think of insects as gross and we're not used to eating it? But is it really just totally fine?
Who got to you?
I'm just asking the question.
Somebody from the government giving you money to try to do this to me?
I partly do it because I know it's gonna bother you a little bit. But
no. I'm not eating bugs. I'm not. Have you heard the live in the pod, eat the bugs, you'll own nothing and be happy?
No.
Okay, so that you'll own nothing and be happy is a big push. And then they have this like meme that they say, live in the pod, eat the bugs. Like they want you living in a small thing and eating, this. Let's just be honest. There's no way you're making insects into some delicious thing that I want to eat. It is not going to be ever as good as the food I already eat. I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'm going to keep buying more guns, ammo, gold, land, and live happily for the rest of my life. This whole thing is driving me nuts, man.
Yeah.
Driving me nuts, Austin.
But so to poke a little harder, is it necessarily bad? Or is it just not something that is your first choice?
No, I think it's yes. If I was stuck on a deserted island and the only thing to eat were those crickets you brought in the other day, I'd eat enough to stay alive, but I wouldn't enjoy it at all. Eating is not a primary, but eating is a part of life that I enjoy a lot. Brings me a lot of joy. I'm not willing to get rid of that for any reason. They could tell me, if you stop eating and only eat this like substitute that has no taste, no texture, no nothing, you're going to live for another 100 years. I go, yeah, no thanks. I'm just going to keep eating my meat and I'll be happy.
True.
So, and then last one is the Finnish government just developed a sustainable, scalable, vegan solution to animal meat. Look at the picture for it. Go down. Keep going. Why is it not on your thing? There it is. That looks like every other substitute meat ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, we need nutritional and healthy foods that are indistinguishable from animal-based protein in every way that allows people to enjoy the experience that they eat of meat without guilt. No, that doesn't look like anything like meat.
Well, the biggest issue there, though, is without guilt. I already don't have guilt,
Wait,
so we're good.
Sorry,
we're
what
good.
guilt is he talking about? Like, I have no guilt when eating meat, but this looks like every other plant-based meat.
To be honest, the whole guilt thing, I'm gonna kind of hyper focus on that. It goes to what I was saying earlier. Like, even if something becomes equal with the meat industry as it exists now, like, I'm still going to favor the meat industry now because it's going to support local farmers, local ranchers, local population centers, local businesses for meat processing and the stuff that goes into it, i.e. us. Yeah. Like, it's going to support more families, more of the generic population. anything that's like this, it's all, at least from the start, for years, it's all going to be done by a large corporation somewhere, and you're going to kill all the small businesses that are currently supporting the farming and ranching operations and meat and food industry in America. So it has to be, in my opinion, it not only has to be equal, it has to be substantially better.
Yep.
Unless it's something that is going to totally replace and give everyone in that industry as good of a job and a life and situation as before. And I don't think it will.
Did you read Brave New World?
No.
Did you have to read that? No. They talk about, I'm pretty sure it's Brave. I don't think it was 451. Yeah, it's Brave New World. I have to reread those. Sorry. They talk about how like having any like real actual food like butter was an unbelievable luxury, and everything else is like processed, like fake created stuff. I think that's the world they're trying to create. I think they want like, you know, their party members or whatever members to have access to stuff, but for everyone else just to take whatever they'll give them.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree.
Revolution. All right, guys. That was it. We've got some sales going on right now. We released our video yesterday when you see this. At the end of it, we had a coupon code for 10% off anything that was not on sale through the month. And maybe a time or two on this podcast, we'll be releasing other special coupon codes that will allow you to use another coupon code if you want to make more than one order a month. Sorry, I got distracted because you didn't finish yours.
No. I'm trying not to totally ruin my dinner.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
How often do you not eat much when you get home from a podcast?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, most times I've had enough that I'm not going to eat as much as I normally do. Yeah.
Most Wednesdays when we eat something substantial, I go home and I'm just like, I'm going to have a protein shake or something. Tonight, I'm probably going to go run 6 miles. So it begins.
Oh, I was like, what? What is going on? The weight loss challenge. Yes. Great.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltons.com. To get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.